Hey there, welcome to It Feels So Good to Talk. And why do I have roses? Well, because they were on sale for $10. And I love having flowers by my desk. And no, there was no fight. One time my husband walked into someone's house and they saw roses on the table and they said, "Hey, what was the fight about?" It doesn't have to be a fight to have roses. But there may be fights on your farm if you aren't paying attention to what you're really feeling and becoming more self-aware and more self-controlled around the way that you communicate on your farm. So first thing, accept the fact that solving problems is up to you. You need to be the driver to ask for what you need. I've often said love does not read minds. So you'll get nowhere if you expect communication problems just to go away on their own. Next thing is to understand what your communication style is. Now, I happen to be a people communicator. I like to chat, find out about relationships, do word of mouth before I ask a person about what we really want to get down to talking about. My husband, on the other hand, is very much into short, concise words, direct communication. And quite often I tell him, please use more words. My son is called an ideas kind of communicator. He's innovative. He has lots of ideas, needs time to go on tangents. And then my daughter-in-law might be more like a process person because she's very detail-oriented. She likes to plan, and she likes things to go in an A, B, C, D order. So we're all different, and different is not wrong. It's just different. So if you'd like a free 20-minute communication styles assessment, just reach out to ElaineFraze.com, go to the contact page and say, "Hey, Elaine, send me your communication styles assessment," and you can take time to do it. Another thing we want to do, excuse me for a sec, is curtail interruptions. Now, how did that make you feel when I left the scene of the vision? So here's the deal. If you want to have really good communication, have some boundaries, or put the cell phones away in a basket, turn them off, and get everybody to talk about things without interruption. You can also use my idea of a talking stick, which is when you hold the Beanie Baby bowl or the stuffy or something soft as the talking stick, then you get to talk uninterrupted. Another person uses 3 pennies approach or 3 coins, and you spend a coin and talk and give your input, spend another one, and when the 3 coins are given, then time's up. Also, be aware of what really ticks you off. So we have this conflict dynamic profile, which I've mentioned before. And apparently my hot buttons are, number 1, people who are aloof, which means people who won't talk to me. Because again, love does not read minds, so I have no idea what you're thinking unless you tell me. And I'll sit here and I'll listen. 80% of great communication is actually listening. And really listen. Don't prejudge the outcome or already start thinking about your answer. Ask really powerful questions to drill down. My other hot button would be people who are not reliable. So think about what makes you defensive or angry when you're communicating. And you might want to reflect back, okay, something's not working here. What would you like me to do differently? Or just practice one new way of saying something like, "I'm just curious." Or another good line would be, "Hey, it's not my intent to annoy you. It's my intent to get this thing fixed. And so what do we need to work on together?" So folks may be a little bit shocked at first that you're willing to change. And this is not manipulation. This is actually creating new habits. So how do you know when you're getting better at talking through problems? Well, ask yourself, if this problem did not exist or that it was solved, what would I or we be doing or saying to each other? So future cast, and one of my coaches, Lydia, is really good about this. She says, what's the future outcome you see for yourself in the next 3 months if this coaching really helps you? What is it you're working towards? And have a vision of what you want your farm workplace culture to look like, and decide what steps you can do to make it happen. So instead of offering your opinion really quickly, say, "Hey, what are you thinking?" And ask permission to share your opinion. And if you don't understand something and you're just going, "Oh my goodness, I have no idea what they're talking about," say, "Could you explain it to me in a different way? Could you tell me more?" And you can also kind of nod your head, and you can agree with the other person's position without really agreeing by saying, "Well, I agree with you." You can say, "Well, that's an interesting perspective." And I always smile when accountants or lawyers refer people to me and they say, "Elaine, we have an interesting family." Yeah, code for a little bit difficult and probably highly conflicted. Let the other person explain their why this is so important to communicate this with you before you start interrupting them. And here's another really powerful question. What if something happened to your husband? What would be there to protect you as the daughter-in-law? And I've been doing a lot of traveling in the U.S. this winter. And classic what if question is, what happens to me if something happens to my husband? Because we don't have a lot of plans in place. So the curious question I have, if I say just converse, it feels good to talk. What needs to shift for better communication at your farm? Now, some people say roses communicate. Red stands for love. Bought these for myself because I really like flowers and I think beauty creates energy. Apparently, yellow roses stand for friendship. And there may be some codes that you don't even know about, unwritten rules of communication on your farm, or some kind of hand signals that you have no idea what they mean, right? So it's time to start speaking kindly just simply by being gracious with each other, and treat your farm team as well as you treat your friends, and share meals together and make decisions on a well-fed stomach, not an empty one when you're on the run. Because small steps in your communication will make a huge difference. Speak in a calm and a respectful tone. Look each other in the eye, which is a good communication principle. It's not scary, and I just want to encourage the younger generation to practice looking up from your phones and looking people in the eye. The eyes are the window to the soul, and they tell a lot, even without speaking. Ask permission. Is now a good time? Or it would be better after lunch or next Tuesday, whatever. Paraphrase what you heard the other person said and repeat it back to them in a way that gives you some correct intention that you can understand the message. And texting, of course, doesn't have any kind of tonality on it. So when you're on your phone texting, be very clear that you explain yourself well. And if it takes more than 2 texts to communicate something, I say use the phone as a phone. What a concept. Make request that the hot issues be dealt with in a formalized meeting session so you can prepare for those, and just ask better questions. So stop and enjoy the roses and learn to converse with your family, and know that if you're not a good communicator yet, you will be. Just say, not yet, but I'm working on it. I hope these tips have been helpful, and just really understand it's all about choice. It's all about language. And it's all about asking. So ask better questions, do it with grace, and enjoy your family communication. See you next time.